Welcome to Hardwood Classics on NBA TV. I'm Mark Fye. Tonight we feature Game 4 between the Sacramento Kings and the Dallas Mavericks in the 2002 Western Conference Semifinals. The teams split the first two games at Arco Arena. Kings took Game 3 in Dallas, so that set up a must-win for the Mavs in Game 4. Mike Bibby taking part in his first NBA postseason, and Bobby Jackson would get the start, subbing for an injured Peja Stojakovic. Dallas, of course, led by Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash. How would Game 4 turn out? Well, let's get to the action.
The fans are certainly ready as Lonnie Divac and Rafe LaFrentz will gather at center court for the opening tip. The officials Bernie Fryer, Jim Clark, and Greg Willard. Game 4. And a key, of course, for the Dallas Mavericks would be a quick start. That has been a huge problem, PJ, in the last two games.
Don Nelson really distressed, doesn't know what to do, but Steve Nash knows about a good start.
That's not a bad way. In the last two games, they have really struggled, especially in Game 3 Thursday. They were down 13-2 before a blink of an eye.
Well, that was doubly important, that game, because it's the first game at home. They really wanted to set the tone early, put Sacramento back on their heels, and instead Sacramento got the start that Rick Adelman wanted. You can't spot this kind of team. As explosive as Dallas is, Sacramento equally strong. You can't spot them the leads they've done so far.
Bobby Jackson again in the starting lineup without Stojakovic. Comes up short, and LaFrentz with the rebound. Rafe LaFrentz for three. I think we can officially say they're off to a good start.
So much for the early leads for Sacramento.
One of the keys for the Kings, they've been shooting the lights out in the early going. In Game 3, they were 14 of 19 from the field as Jackson was called for travel. And one of the things I thought was impressive, PJ, they didn't shoot any three-pointers. They got better shots and made sure they got those better opportunities.
No, their game plan is clearly to establish the inside. Lonnie Divac and Chris Webber have been effective. Scott Pollard in limited minutes. They've dominated points in the paint in this series.
Nowitzki for three. And Rick Webber coming away with a rebound. As you talked about Nowitzki struggling from the field in this series as Bibby comes up short. Nash tips it to LaFrentz. Stojakovic has done a very good job defensively on him. And without him, others will certainly have to pick up the slack. Webber's on him to start. Finley misses, and Nash the offensive rebound. Nice feed inside.
That's why they don't like that matchup. They don't want Chris Webber on Nowitzki. That's a tough matchup. Peja Stojakovic is going to be missed more for his defense. He's been struggling on the offensive end.
That's something you never expected to hear, but Stojakovic had really improved defensively. Webber, quick inside, short again. Nowitzki the rebound.
They've had the ball in the paint, but they've turned it over and been unable to finish.
So just the opposite start from the other night. Nowitzki strong to the glass. Can't finish that time, and here comes Bibby. Bibby trying to get some contact. Nice feed at the last second, but Jackson maybe not expecting it.
Again, the ball's in the paint, but they couldn't come up with an attempt.
Van Exel will steal. Nowitzki. Well, Nowitzki's 0 for 3, but the rest of the team 3 for 4.
Well, we talked about the team getting off to a good start. Dirk Nowitzki is frustrated. He really needed to get off to a good start also, as once again, Sacramento forces it inside to Divac.
And Divac will go to the line for two. Bobby Jackson.
We talked about
excuse me, PJ and Ben.
We talked about Dirk's turnovers. There's an assist. That's one area that he really needs to improve. He's such a good shooter. He is good putting the ball on the floor, but he's not good passing off the dribble or out of double teams. That's a summer project for Dirk Nowitzki.
With all the talk of Webber and Christie and what they did in the fourth quarter, and they really carried the team to the victory. Divac had a terrific game at 19 points and 13 rebounds.
Lotta has played very well against Dallas all year. He averaged a double-double against them in the 4 games in the regular season. He likes playing against this team. Let's face it, there's not an inside presence to cause him any problems for the Dallas Mavericks.
And thus the game plan to pound it inside. LaFrentz is a good shot blocker, but they're not known for their post defense, not known for their defense, period. LaFrentz inside, nice move. Christie's flop didn't work.
Two good no calls. Vonnie Divac bump in, Exel on top, no call, and the flop inside, no call.
LaFrentz would send him to 9. Weber off the mark. Rafe LaFrentz coming off a big game and off to an excellent start. There's another 3, and Rafe LaFrentz has 10 points in the first 3.5 minutes.
Well, we'll see how Dallas plays from the front, because they don't have to worry about staggering out of the blocks today.
Standing ovation for the Mavericks. Their goal, get off to a good start. Mission accomplished.
It's a win, and they got the lead. Jimmy O'Brien's delighted, and he should be. Rick Carlisle's team hung in. Split second late for Jerry Stackhouse.
Nash sitting down. Greg Buckner has come in. Nowitzki not even close. And Nowitzki now 0 for 7 from the field. Weber just beating Dallas down the court. That's poor transition defense. That's no transition defense.
Well, the Sacramento big men have had their way with the Dallas front court so far. Dallas is scoring points, but they're not doing anything to control Weber, Divac, or Scott Pollard in his limited minutes.
And they've cut the lead. The Kings have to 2. Finley from way downtown, and Bibby with a rebound, knocked out of bounds by Van Exel. Sacramento ball.
Mike, Sacramento starts 0 for 4. Since then, they're 9 for 13 from the field.
Hito Turkoglu has come in. Bobby Jackson sitting down. Turkoglu, a very strong player, just hasn't gotten the minutes yet that I'm sure he'll get over the next couple of years. Pollard has come into the game, and he'll get the big minutes with no Stojakovic. Bibby continues to shoot so well here in this series. An 8-0 run, and the Kings, after trailing by 11, have tied the game.
Well, when you talk about the Sacramento bench, you're really only talking about 3 players. Rick Adelman usually uses an 8-man rotation. Jackson, Pollard, and Turkoglu.
Van Exel, aggressive move, can't finish, and Pollard the rebound. Pollard, of course, barely played the first 2 games, but had 11 very strong minutes in game 3.
They don't like him on the floor against Dallas because he doesn't defend the pick and roll very well, and he really hurts them on the defensive end.
Turkoglu, shot clock winding down. Weber inside. Weber now with 15 points. A 10-0 run by the Kings, and they had their first lead of the game.
Did you say shot clock winding down, Mike?
First time.
Last time.
Buckner gets it inside, and Buckner counts it. Greg Buckner, I guess you could say, is a Maverick defensive specialist. Now, I know that's an oxymoron, but he's one of the guys off the bench that can play some D.
Well, they have the defensive bunch, and we're getting on Dirk Nowitzki. Let's give him credit again. Very good pass.
Turkoglu inside.
Hito's got to finish that shot. Great entry pass behind the back from Chris Weber.
So final half minute of the first quarter. Kind of a low-scoring quarter for these
Bit of a slowdown. I think these teams will get going.
Nowitzki, and there's his first field goal, and a pretty pass from Van Exel.
Both of these teams move the ball so well. You put Minnesota in, the 3 of them, I think, the 3 best passing teams in the NBA.
Shot clock turned off, so the Kings will hold it for the final one of the quarter. Bibby, Turkoglu wide open. And that tip would not have counted. And that will end the first quarter. Dirk Nowitzki continues to struggle. He's 1 of 8 from the field. Don Nelson told us yesterday, Nowitzki struggled. He thinks he's not playing well because he's not shooting well. And he feels he's letting it affect the other parts of his game. Defense, which isn't his strength. And more importantly, passing, which is an area he needs to improve on. And the Kings are making him pass the ball.
Well, he's shown that already today. He's being aggressive, taking the ball to the basket, but he's frustrated, Mike. He's got to understand he's commanding so much attention from the Sacramento defense that does open things up for his teammates. But he's thinking about it too much, and it's really affecting his shooting.
Bibby gets the roll as it goes in. More substitutions for Sacramento. Gerald Wallace, the rookie from Alabama, has come in. He's out there with Turkoglu, Weber, Pollard, and Bibby.
Gerald Wallace is the one who will move into the rotation. Rick Adams is playing Scott Pollard, so it looks like they'll use an 8-man rotation and move Pollard and Wallace in. He's been playing 7 the first 3 games.
Turkoglu went for the fake, and Finley drew the foul. And Finley will go to the line for two. First foul on Turkoglu.
When you play these two teams, you had better get back on the defensive end. This is an example of how not to get back on the defensive end. Michael Bibby, this looks like a pregame warm-up line.
So Finley to the line. As you mentioned, Finley attacked the basket in game 3, got to the free throw line 11 times. That's the first free throw attempt of the Mavericks here this afternoon. It's like anything, like all the players, they feel the same way about Nowitzki. If you're early, aggressively going to the basket, it just opens up your outside shot later on.
Right. I mean, he's thinking about it so much right now. Peja Stojakovic, when he was healthy, was really struggling for the Kings. But the difference, again, he commands double teams. He changes the other team's defense. His absence for the Kings is going to cause a problem, even though he wasn't shooting it well.
Wallace, the rookie, turns it over. And the Mavericks set up the offense. Turkoglu is on Van Exel. Van Exel wants to take him off the dribble. Finley, this time for 3. Michael Finley off to a terrific start. He's got 11.
Sacramento's one of the best defensive teams in the league against the three-point shot, ranked number 3, and they've so far shut Dallas's three-point shooting down.
Weber goes in and draws the foul.
Not this afternoon, Mike. Dallas is getting good looks from the three-point line.
Buckner commits his first, and Weber back to the free throw line.
Van Exel penetrates. That gets Finley the good look from the three-point line. They're shooting it so much better than they have in this series. Dallas comes in shooting 31% in 3 games from the three-point line.
Weber misses the first. The question, where's Walton? Log on to NBA.com to find out where Bill will be on Monday. Follow the Where's Walton NBA Playoffs 2002 Love It Live Tour on NBA.com. Weber in the 4th quarter of Game 3 on Thursday. Big buckets down the stretch. Block shots, assists, rebounds. Him and Doug Christie took over and got Sacramento back the home court advantage. Van Exel, Rafe LaFrance, and Van Exel the rebound. When you play against teams that shoot a lot of threes, you have to look for those long rebounds. Guards have to help out. Buckner with a brick. And Turkoglu, who's a very good rebounder, probably a better rebounder than Stojakovic, grabs that one.
Peja was a very good rebounder when he first came home. He's kind of gotten away from that. He can be a good rebounder.
And a terrific move, but an offensive foul. Turkoglu called for the charge. And there he is, Eduardo Nahara picking up the charge. That's what he's out there for defense.
That's one of the defenders you talked about. Referee Jimmy Clark pointed to the floor. He said Nahara was outside the semicircle. Buckner and Nahara are the defenders.
And 2 fouls on Turkoglu. That was an area of concern for Rick Adelman, especially without Stojakovic. 7 turnovers for the Sacramento Kings. They trail by 4 here early in the second. Second quarter in Dallas. Mavericks leading by 7. Just under 5.5 to play in this first half. Tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern on NBC. The big NBA playoff tripleheader. Nets and Hornets with Game 4. New Jersey leading 2-1. Then the Pistons and the Celtics. Celtics eking out the victory against the Pistons. They lead it 2-1. And then the third game, the other Western Conference semifinal. Lakers now 2-1 leaders over the Spurs. Game 4 from San Antonio. Of course, the Western Conference semifinals featuring the state of California versus the state of Texas.
Northern California against Northern Texas. Southern California against Southern Texas.
Christie to the line. Christie scoreless so far. And it's the first free throw. Christie, of course, played that 4th quarter with the sprained ankle. But Rick Adelman said if anyone can play with pain, it's this guy. He's so tough mentally. You have team leaders in points. You have team leaders in rebounds. Adelman says Doug Christie is the team leader in energy every single game.
And toughness. The players and the coaches know who the players are who will play when they're hurt. Doug Christie's one of those guys.
Steve Nash misfires. Good boxing out from Divac.
You know, our graphics people did a good job on that Charlotte, New Jersey promo, not having David Wesley and Jason Kidd head-to-head there in the graphic.
That was an ugly collision, and unfortunately both players okay, although Kidd sporting quite a shiner. That was a big win for Charlotte. They'll try and even the series tomorrow. Jackson, shot clock at 2. Jackson has to hoist it up. Good defense from LaFrance. That ball just grazed the rim. LaFrance has done that a couple of times. He's gotten out and put a good hand up on the perimeter shot.
Well, we repeat ourselves, but he's such a good defender, particularly when he's helping out. Bobby Jackson has struggled. He didn't get off to a good start in his new role today. Other than the assist, he's hurt Sacramento.
Christie with the steal. 3-on-2 for Sacramento. Christie, nice move. Going right past Nash and Nowitzki.
You can't do that. They got to make him pass the ball. You can't have a guy dribble the ball all the way from the backcourt and go to the rim without somebody picking him up.
And now it's Sacramento with a 9-0 run. Griffin. Adrian Griffin knocks one down.
Unlikely source to end the run.
That's just his second field goal of the entire playoffs. But it gives Dallas a 5-point lead with 4 minutes remaining in the second.
Well coached in college, though, Mike.
A Seton Hall Pirate. Nice backdoor attempt, but then a terrific recovery by that well-coached player. He got beat, but didn't give up. Nowitzki inside. Well, he's only 2 for 10. Both of them have been on one a dunk and the other one a layup. He needs to get more of those.
That kind of shot selection will get your field goal percentage up.
Divac's trying to post up LaFrance. Jackson on a give and go.
Bobby Jackson learned a lesson too. He couldn't make a shot, so he went to the rim. Vlade with a real nice pass.
Is there a better center, passing center in the NBA?
I like Vlade. I used to say it was Arvydas Sabonis. I think you'd have to say Vlade Divac.
Nowitzki inside strong again. I think he's made the adjustment.
He's made the adjustment, and he sees what Weber and Divac are doing on the opposite end.
Nowitzki knocks it away. He's had a couple of deflections.
Rafe LaFrance in there again. His length is a factor.
Finley. Nowitzki the rebound. That was not a good shot from Finley. Griffin was wide open on the right wing. Wide open again. He's not hesitating. Well, he hasn't played much. He's trying to get as many points as possible when he gets out on the floor.
Well, this team, you got to get your shots when you're on the floor, because any of the other 4 players are going to get it up if they have one.
And the Mavericks back up by 9. A 20-second timeout. Call from Rick Adelman.
Dirk Nowitzki has the ability to put the ball on the floor. No help defense whatsoever. Now he backs in. Uses the left hand going to the rim. Real nice step through, but how about Adrian Griffin? The Pirate is stepping up, Mike.
Just under 2.5 to play. Second quarter of game 4. Mavericks back up by 9. Now there you see Griffin hardly playing the first 3 games. This is a guy that wasn't drafted. Played in the CBA for 3 years. Was even cut in the Philippines. As Divac blocked by LaFrance. And that's LaFrance's 3rd block shot of the first half. Oh, great pass by Nash, but Buckner can't finish. And a collision between Bibby and Nash.
Well, you're going to see some guards in this league getting a little hesitant to go after loose balls.
Bibby fouled from behind from Nowitzki. That's his 2nd foul on Nowitzki. Let's look at that collision again.
Mike, you and I were there Thursday night and saw a nastier collision. That one started out the same way. Fortunately, Steve Nash and Mike Bibby both get up quickly.
You know, despite all the contact, I think that's the right no call because they both kind of went for the ball at the exact same time.
There's been a number of good no calls today. Sometimes what the officials don't call, they do a better job than what they do call.
Nowitzki will sit down as there is a Sean Bradley sighting.
Can I say something nice about the officials?
That occasionally comes out. Not often, but occasionally. Under 2 minutes to play first half. 7-point Dallas lead. Mavericks trying to even up this conference semifinal at 2 games apiece.
They talk about small ball. We've got tall ball right now. Nelly wants to make sure with Sean Bradley and LaFrance, Weber and Divac can't score inside.
And even though Jackson grabbed that held ball, Doug Christie forced that. Terrific defense from Doug Christie, who was named All-NBA second-team defense.
Doug Christie's eyes are always on the ball. He sees what's happening. Bobby Jackson sticks his head in there and does a good job. Christie is a great anticipator. He sees the entire floor on the defensive end.
Bibby pushes it up. Christie and Jackson, both their 2nd year in Sacramento. They have changed the mentality defensively of this team.
Last year it changed. Sacramento became a good field goal percentage defense team. People don't realize that. They are number 9 in the NBA in field goal percentage defense, number 3 in three-point field goal percentage defense. It started last year with Doug Christie and Bobby Jackson.
Meanwhile, poor defense that time from Buckner as Bibby. That should just not happen on an inbounds play.
They don't have Christie and Jackson setting the tone on the defensive end for the Mavericks.
Although they have a couple of defenders out there in LaFrance and Griffin and Buckner. LaFrance steps back, way short, and a loose ball foul called on LaFrance. That'll be his first. And we'll have more free throws coming up.
Rafe LaFrance just pulled a string on that shot. He shoots three-point shots better than that. This is just careless. Michael Bibby goes right to the rim. The man who's guarding the inbounder on an underneath out-of-bounds play, his #1 job is you don't allow a layup. All you do is make sure you don't throw a pass into the paint. So the man guarding the ball made a mistake, and obviously somebody not guarding Michael Bibby made a mistake.
So Divac will shoot 2, 105 remaining. Of course, these teams so explosive, 125-119. That was the score in Game 3. How do you think Pete Carrill feels? Carrill, of course, the assistant coach for the Sacramento Kings, longtime Princeton coach. His teams didn't give up that many points, 125 in about a month back in the Ivy League days.
Poor Pete looks something like Tom Tolbert. He's got that glazed look in his eyes, seeing the lack of defense.
He's 71 years old, 49 years coaching, and still having an impact wherever he coaches.
He told me today he thought Boston-Detroit was a great game yesterday. He didn't know what everybody was talking about.
A 3-point Dallas lead with a minute remaining. Sacramento getting to the free throw line. Buckner trying to take advantage of Bibby. LaFrance and Bradley just leveled Divac. It looked like an elbow. Here comes Jackson the other way. Jackson goes hard to the glass and does not get the roll, but keeps it alive for his teammate.
Bobby Jackson's an excellent offensive rebounder.
Jackson, a lot of contact. Offensive foul. Let's see his players fall on each other. Bernie Fryer is going to call an offensive foul, but he looked at it, Jim Clark, the trail official, and he may call something different. Let's see.
Well, both coaches are there trying to help Bernie Fryer. Bernie's coming with the offensive foul.
They call it on Jackson, pushing off with the arm, and that's Bobby Jackson's first.
Oh, I thought they called it on Chris Webber. Bobby Jackson goes to the basket, doesn't finish. See, Webb got away with the shove right there. I don't know who Bernie called it on, but Chris Webber committed the foul.
Bradley tripped over Bobby Jackson, but Webber initiated the trip by pushing him. It may have gone back down the other end of the floor because it appeared Bradley hit Divac with an elbow that knocked him down. It has been a physical first half for these two run-and-gun teams.
Well, the free throw attempts are up much higher in the second quarter.
Nash flips up a wild shot. How does that go in? Here comes Jackson. That's a bad shot from Jackson, but he got bailed out on the foul.
Yes, he did. We have wild shots on both ends. The difference, Steve Nash makes wild shots. Here he goes again, falling. He made one like that against Minnesota in the first round, but he gets that one to fall. Look at this. He gets hit. He gets tripped the second time. He just gets it up. Sean Bradley was ready to dunk it. Bobby Jackson tried to duplicate. He couldn't do it.
Meanwhile, Bradley with the foul on the other end. Jackson misses the free throw. Jackson, of course, a six-man candidate. Paulus Williamson of Detroit wanted, but Bobby Jackson, as Van Exel comes back in, has played huge for the Kings the last 2 years, but he's struggling shooting the ball right now.
He's having a tough day. He's turned the ball over a few times also. Bobby Jackson, I thought that vote would be closer. I think Corliss very deserving, but I thought Bobby Jackson would be closer in the balloting than he was. He's been spectacular all year, and the one thing he is, which is unusual for a bench player, Mike, he's consistent. Night in and night out, he puts up good numbers.
Another missed free throw. Webber, though, the offensive rebound, gets inside. Nice left hand from Webber.
Splits the defense and then shields him with his shoulder.
Van Exel blocked by Jackson. Don Nelson irate. And then calms himself and walks away. No, there's going to be a technical foul. Nelson is jumping up and down. He's close to getting thrown out.
They got to get him out of there. As soon as he jumped off the bench, Jimmy Clark put the whistle in his mouth. One more word. When you see the official put the whistle in his mouth, that means I've heard enough. They kept going.
Nelson was very upset. Got hit with a technical. There's a lot of contact there on Van Exel. Jackson blocked it clean up top, but then with contact after the block, and Nelson felt a foul should have been called. Got hit with a technical, and they'll shoot that technical free throw when they come back out on the floor after their halftime chats. Let's send it over to Lewis Johnson.
All right, thanks a lot, Steve. Obviously, nerves are frayed here. It's a lot of emotion, but let's talk about the way this game started. You were down 13 and 15, respectively, the first two games. How important was it to get started off right? What did you guys talk about yesterday to get this thing started off right today?
Well, just having a good start. You know, it's been a characteristic of our team to start slowly, and we've also had the characteristic of resiliency that's brought us back a lot this year, but we can't afford to play against good teams and have bad starts. We played well at the start, and it was a good for us.
The nature of these games that have a lot of speed means there'll be a lot of scoring. So how important will defense be to try and keep the score down if you plan on getting a win here?
The team that plays the best defense is going to win. It may not look like it because the score's so high, but there's more possessions. And in the series so far, the team that's played the best defense has won, so tonight will be no different.
All right, Steve, thanks. We'll see you in the second half. Mike?
Maybe the team that plays defense more often is going to win.
Well, Stevie's right. There's a lot of guys that are hard to guard on the floor.
Dallas leading by 3. Michael Finley leading them with 17 points. Chris Webber, meanwhile, 22 to lead the Sacramento Kings. Coming up on Verizon Wireless at the half, Hannah and Tom in New York with first half reaction. They'll talk to Jerry Stackhouse of the Pistons. That's coming up after these messages. 3-point lead for Dallas at halftime. Stay tuned for Verizon Wireless at the half. So it's a 2-point game as the third quarter gets underway. And Jackson got the start for Stojakovic. Meanwhile, Van Exel getting the start for Dallas. Christie, hard drive, and just too strong. And boy, he's hurt. Doug Christie really hurt down the other end.
Rick Adelman is screaming. Doug Christie's lying on his stomach. Looked like he fell down right on his tailbone.
And then a technical foul on Rick Adelman. He was screaming at Greg Willard to stop the game. The officials really aren't supposed to stop it. Dallas had the ball, was bringing up the court, had a chance for, an opportunity. And the officials have to say whether or not, if a player's in danger, that actually blow the whistle right away. But that's a decision they have to make. Christie went down hard, but they didn't want to penalize Dallas for that.
That may have been equal parts screaming because there was no foul on Doug Christie's attempt for a layup. Doug Christie turns the corner right here. Looks like he's going to get all the way to the rim. That is a foul. It is a blatant foul. Got undercut. Rick Adelman was livid. He may have wanted him to stop it, but he wanted him to stop it right there when he got undercut. That Rafe LaFrentz got underneath him.
I think LaFrentz may have been tripped. It might not have been intentional undercut. It certainly wasn't. Should have been a foul. It was Bibby's foul.
Oh, I don't know if it was intentional, but if that's not a foul, then we better get a different crew.
No, absolutely. As LaFrentz kind of was stumbling and went underneath, and when Christie went down, he went down so hard you could hear him from midcourt where we are. He was screaming. I'm surprised he's still in the game.
Well, I think Chris Webber told Lewis Johnson what the players were talking about at halftime. I think he didn't tell Rick Adelman because Rick Adelman got upset very quickly.
And got hit with that technical. Christie, of course, sprained that ankle in game 3. And gets banged up here in game 4. That last foul on Finley, his second, and Adelman wants timeout now.
That's because of Doug Christie. You see, they're working on him right now. They want to go over there and talk to him. I think Pete Youngman was working on him, just couldn't get him ready quick enough, so they're taking a timeout to get Doug Christie back.
Expect the officials to call this one even tighter when we return. But he remains in the game. A 4-point advantage right now for the Mavericks. Nowitzki gets inside and draws the foul. Webber picking up his first. Let's go to Lewis Johnson.
Okay, Mike, thanks a lot. Well, we already know that Doug Christie is dealing with a moderately right ankle sprain. That was from game 3. But during the timeout, the trainers wrapped his left and his right wrist with elastic tape. They paid a little bit of attention to the tailbone. But the interesting thing was during that timeout, Christie smiled throughout the entire timeout. I don't know what Rick Adelman said to his players, but when they all walked out of the timeout, everyone was smiling. So the physical as well as the psychological warfare going on here.
Well, Rick Adelman told us that when Christie hurt himself in game 3 and he comes back out of the locker room, he told their trainer he's not going to be a hero tonight. I don't want him going back in because he wanted him to be ready for game 4 because he knew Stojakovic was going to be out as well with the ankle sprain. But Christie convinced both the medical staff and Adelman that he was okay to go back in the game.
Well, that's why Pete Youngman, the trainer, told Doug, you go tell Rick, because I know if I tell him, he's going to tell me no way. He didn't want to take a chance on Doug Christie, but Doug was able to convince Rick.
Nice move. Weber waited patiently for Christie to seal Nash, and an easy two.
Good pass and no pressure on Chris Webber. You have to guard Chris Webber, not just so he doesn't shoot it, so he doesn't make an entry pass like that.
Nowitzki spinning, can't connect Weber with his 8th rebound. Weber doing a little bit of everything once again. Bibby knocked out of bounds, last touch by Van Exel.
Chris Webber, we said, well, no one's guarding him. We said he's a good passer. I could make that pass. Doug Christie just seals his man. Easy look for C. Webb.
You could make that pass, but you never made that pass. You always shot the ball.
I chose not to.
So, Nowitzki, wide open three. He is struggling from the perimeter as Weber gets the outlet pass out as he tumbles.
Good no call.
Tell you what, Nowitzki, he has 6 assists. He leads the team in assists. He's also got a couple of steals, so he's not letting it affect the rest of his game. Bobby Jackson to Weber, and Weber's fouled. LaFrentz wrapped around him. That's the second foul on LaFrentz.
Chris Webber puts so much pressure on your defense. It doesn't matter whether he's out away from the basket or down under, because he can score, he can shoot it from the perimeter, and as we are talking about, he's a very good passer. He finds open people.
Weber, meanwhile, used to be a bad free throw shooter, but he's really improved at the line. His brother Jeff, a couple of years back, gave him some tips that turned around. Misses that one. But that's an important part of his game because he gets fouled a lot, and you've got to knock down the free throws, especially in a game that you expect to be close like this.
Well, much as Tim Duncan did for the San Antonio Spurs this year, it's really important when you have somebody who gets to the free throw line so much that he makes his free throws. Takes away his strength if he gets to the line and can't convert.
2 minutes gone by in the third. Mavericks lead cut to 3 again. Weber guarding Van Exel. Bobby Jackson's on Nowitzki, but they don't get him the ball. Nash hits the three. Who cares if he get him the ball? Despite the huge mismatch, let's throw up the three.
Well, Doug Christie paid a little bit too much attention to Van Exel, and that opened things for Nash.
Bobby Jackson, tough shot in traffic. And Jackson able to knock it down. Van Exel. Nash. Pass to LaFrentz right through his hands. 3-on-1 for Sacramento. Christie blows by it. Oh, there's the block. But a foul call. And Nowitzki picks up his 3rd. Christie back to the line.
I like the play by Dirk Nowitzki. That was pretty good defense. You called it a 3-on-1. Doug Christie decides to go all the way, and Nowitzki says you're not going to get a layup on this. He fouls him with the body, and he also got a piece of the ball, which is just as important because now there's not going to be a 3-point play.
Christie knocking down the first free throw. Doug Christie, the type of player, he could shoot 1 of 4 in a game and still have a major impact because of all the other things he does. He's had his best season, according to his coach, Rick Adelman.
Well, that's part of the maturity process. You know, we're talking about Dirk Nowitzki's got to understand all the other things he does. You know, it's not just about scoring points.
Nash finding Van Exel. Nowitzki the rebound. It's inside. Count it, and 1. Vlade Divac complaining. Let's see if he was in the restricted area. That's the key to the call. Nowitzki with a chance for a 3-point play.
Dirk Nowitzki averaged 15 rebounds against Minnesota, over 15. He's over 11 here. Left heel was close. You know, it was above the ground. If he put the heel down, he'd have been on the 3. I'm not sure he was touching the 3.
And here, another technical foul. Divac picks up this one. I tell you, if I'm a coach, you got to do something. Players getting technical fouls in the playoffs, I don't know if you find a guy, you sit him down. I know it's important. You don't want to sit down and start if he picks up a technical, but you got to get the message these guys just to shut up and talking to the refs.
You do, but if you're one of these coaches and each of them have a technical too, you don't have a lot of credibility. So one of the things that players are constantly going to say to you, you have to stick up for me as a coach. You got to get out. If you want me to not say anything to the official, you have to stand up and take the technical foul. But if the coaches are taking them, as they are this afternoon, the players got to keep quiet.
And those technical foul numbers you saw, that's not defensive technical fouls or a second delay a game. That's just all on arguing with officials. Mike Bibby, that one halfway down. Divac called for the loose ball foul. So Vlade Divac picks up his third. The Kings are getting too involved right now in complaining or trying to laugh off calls. They just got to play.
No, exactly. When you're on the road, you're in a chance without one of your leading scorers to take a stranglehold on the series. You've got to stay focused.
LaFrentz not close. Van Exel tips it out of bounds. 3.5 gone by. Dangerous pass from Christie here in the third. A 7-point Dallas lead. Weber gets inside. Chris Weber continues his aggressive play. He's got 25 points. He's coming off a game 3 where he had 31 points and 15 boards. Nowitzki this time takes it to the hole. Count it, and one again. Dirk Nowitzki with a chance for a three-point play. As Weber picks up his second.
Rick Adelman wants the same call on the other end. Chris Weber puts it on the floor. You see Rafe LaFrentz, I don't mind that. I think a no call is a good call right there. But now you see Nowitzki taking it to the basket on this end. You got to have a no call on that end also. Rick Adelman's right. You need to be consistent on both ends. Neither of those were enough to be called a foul. If you call it on one end, you got to call it on the other.
Again, they called that on Weber. It appeared Divac was closer to him, but
my bad. If that was called on Chris Weber, I didn't see it. I was watching Vlade Divac.
There you see Nowitzki coming alive, and there's a carry. Donnie Nelson, the assistant coach for the Mavericks, is all pumped up on the defense of Nick Van Exel.
Well, the guys are trying to step in. Dallas repeatedly, as Sacramento goes to the basket, tries to rotate over. They're just not getting there soon enough to get an offensive foul. They're not causing enough contact, although Chris Weber would disagree with me.
8-point Maverick lead. Nowitzki. Weber got a piece of it. Nowitzki felt he got a piece of the arm.
He did get a piece of his arm.
Offensive foul on Weber. And Weber's going to get hit with a technical.
Now the second delay of the call the tech. Either way, he was going to get a tech. It was either going to be a delay of the game or a technical.
So both teams getting carried away with their emotions. More so the Kings. They've really let the calls affect the way they're playing.
Again, let's go back to Lewis Johnson's report coming out of the locker room. Sacramento said what they had to do was keep their composure. They're not doing that.
So the personal foul is Weber's third on this offensive foul.
That's not too much contact for an offensive foul. We're second-guessing every call right now by the officials, but that's just not a lot of contact.
But he's lowering the shoulder on that.
He's lowering the shoulder. It's not a terrible call, but forget that. Chris Weber can't react that way, even if he doesn't like the call.
Well, the way the game has gone physically and a lot of pushing and shoving, they've got to call a lot of stuff. Finley can't hit. And Bibby the rebound.
If they call everything this afternoon, we're going to be here for a long time.
But don't you think the players eventually will adjust as there's a foul on Weber after Bibby turned it over, and Weber now has picked up his fourth foul.
There's your answer, Mike. Are the players going to adjust? Not yet.
He didn't have a foul in the first 2 quarters, but he's picked up all 4 of them in this third period in less than 5 minutes. And don't forget, they're without Stojakovic.
Well, and we know what the subject of this timeout is going to be at the Sacramento bench.
9-point lead for Dallas as they look to even up this series. 4 more technicals for Sacramento today. They now have 10 for the series, and they trail by 9. It's been a big problem for them. You know, PJ, like a player who shoots during the course of a game, you're not going to make every shot. You're going to throw up an air ball. You're going to have some turnovers. You're going to make mistakes. There has never been an official in the NBA who's called a perfect game. You're going to make some bad calls, and certainly that one on LaFrance against Sacramento that sent Christie tumbling was a bad call. But as players, you got to realize the officials aren't going to be perfect, and you have to play through it, especially in a postseason game.
Mike, I agree, but don't limit it to the NBA. There's never been an official call a perfect game anywhere, but the players have got to let it go. It's easier said. They're out there. It's emotional, particularly in the playoffs. Leave it to the coaches, leave it to the analysts and the play-by-play guys to criticize the officials. Just play basketball.
Nash hits the second. The officials in this game, Bernie Fryer in his 23rd year, Jim Clark in his 16th, and Greg Willard in his 14th, all experienced refs. Well, they lead up to 11, largest of the second half. Divac against LaFrance. Here comes the double team. Bibby, wide open three. Divac keeps it alive, but it goes to Dallas. Nash on the move. Nowitzki for three. And Nash the offensive rebound. Tell you what, for his size, he's a good rebounding point guard.
There's good rebounding point guards on both sides today.
Van Exel goes right at Divac. Largest lead of the game for the Dallas Mavericks.
Well, early on, it was the three-point shooting that opened it up for Dallas. Now, a little bit of frustration by the Sacramento Kings has opened it up even wider.
These type of leads mean nothing to either of these teams with such explosive ability. Turkoglu looking to post up Nash. Huge height advantage there. Turkoglu gets inside. Christie. Bobby Jackson for three. And Jackson finally knocks down a three. He's really been struggling from there. Just 2 of 19 from that range in this series.
We asked him yesterday, what do you do when you're in a slump? He said, just keep working. That was great ball movement by Sacramento. Out of the double team and Doug Christie with the pass.
Van Exel this time with the right hand. And Jackson doesn't like the 1-on-4 numbers in a reach-in foul call. Nick Van Exel, that'll be the 4th team foul and the second on Van Exel.
Nick Van Exel was very quiet in the first half. 0 for 3, didn't score, obviously, but taking it to the rim now. And again, we talked about that combination. Bibby. From deep, Michael Bibby's turned cold. It had to happen.
He had been so hot from there, Van Exel. Nash tiptoeing along the baseline. Divac stolen almost by Van Exel. Jackson close to a travel. Christie does not hit the three. And the Kings without Webber have gone away from their inside game.
Now Chris Webber gets in foul trouble and they're settling for the perimeter shot.
Finley, foul, shot won't go, and Divac will pick up his 4th. The body language of the Kings right now is not good.
Well, it's not good at all, but again, they're missing offensive weapons. They were hanging in there because they were keeping their composure. They were doing a good job establishing their inside game, especially Chris Webber. Webber gets frustrated, gets some fouls. Right now, the three-point shot not going.
Webber had all 4 of his fouls in this third quarter. 25 points, 9 rebounds, but he's got to sit a while. As Finley hits the first, and we go to Lewis Johnson.
Yeah, Mike, to add what you guys are talking about with Chris Webber, in their last time out, Rick Adelman really scolded Webber about his behavior on the court in the last technical. But then Adelman pulled everybody together, and he used these 2 quotes. He said, we've got to pull together. Somehow we have to bond together. But I have to tell you, the noise was so loud with all the noisemakers behind the Sacramento bench. I don't know how they heard him say anything. You know, it's like a 747 taking off over there. It's just incredibly loud.
Right? Meanwhile, Scott Pollard comes in. It's been loud right from the introductions.
Rick Adelman made a great point to us yesterday afternoon. One of the reasons it's so important for the Sacramento Kings to execute on the offensive end is to make Dallas take the ball out of bounds. When they struggle on offense, it puts too much pressure on their defense. They're helping Dallas's offense.
And you see the best free throw shooting team in the NBA getting it done at the line here today. Pollard against Nowitzki. Pollard inside. Scott Pollard has been incredible shooting the ball. Now, again, hasn't played a heck of a lot, but he's 7 of 8 from the field in the series.
Well, what got Sacramento back into this game was pounding it inside. They need to get back to that right now.
Nash. Tough shot from Nash. He's had a couple of those circus-type shots. His 14-point advantage, largest of the game. Pollard inside again. Foul and one. Pollard's former Kansas teammate, Rafe LaFrentz, whacks him from behind. And Scott Pollard with a chance for a three-point play. Third on LaFrentz.
Scott Pollard is another one of the big front-line players for Sacramento. No answer. Dirk Nowitzki is not a very good defensive player at this time. Pollard just turns it and scores. Rafe LaFrentz tries to front him. That could have been Allen Fieldhouse. I don't think Roy Williams would have liked that defense by Rafe.
Pollard misses the free throw. 4.5 left. Third quarter, along with P.J. Carlesimo and Lewis Johnson, Mike Breen on hand. Game 4. Sacramento leading 2-1. The two highest scoring teams in the NBA, both setting franchise records for victories this season. Nash and Pollard another rebound.
Both setting franchise records for victories and road wins.
Bobby Jackson puts it in. And that's what the Kings need. They need someone else to help with the scoring, like a Turkoglu or a Jackson.
Oh, we got all kinds of point guards on the floor. Bibby, Jackson, Van Exel, Nash.
Nash, nice move around Bibby. LaFrentz struggling with a pass, knocked out of bounds by Bibby. And still Dallas ball with 9 on the clock, shot clock. Wang Juju will come into the game for the first time.
Rafe LaFrentz told us yesterday, you don't get tired playing at this pace. I disagree. He looks pretty tired right now.
He had 10 points in the first quarter, hasn't scored since. He gets a nice ovation. Nowitzki inside draws the foul. And Dirk Nowitzki will shoot 2. Foul goes against Turkoglu, his third. Nowitzki just 10 points, but he's got 9 boards and 6 assists. Turkoglu struggling. They need him without Stojakovic to do something offensively.
Absolutely, and it hasn't happened yet. Bobby Jackson got off to the tough start early. Hito hasn't gotten going yet.
Nowitzki, by the way, with 18 points with his big third quarter. I want to correct myself as he hits the free throw. Don't forget, next Saturday, 5 Eastern, NBC returns for the second leg of the Visa Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes. Last week's surprising war emblem went wire to wire. Now all eyes shift to the Preakness. Next Saturday, 5 Eastern, right here on NBC. A big third quarter for Dirk Nowitzki. 13 of his 20 points in this period.
Well, the Preakness may be shorter than the Derby bike, but they're not going around that track any faster than these two teams go up and down the floor.
Jackson has Wong on him. Makes his move. Strong move. And Jackson will shoot a couple. Michael Finley came over to try and help out. Picks up his third.
All afternoon, every time a Sacramento King has left his feet to go to the basket, he's been met in midair by a Dallas Maverick. They're not getting there quickly, but they are getting there to put a hit on the Kings.
Well, Bobby Jackson to the line. We mentioned earlier when Jackson and Christie arrived last season, they changed the whole defensive mindset. Sacramento was not a good defensive team. Jackson said it was so bad defensively before he got there, even he had a triple-double against them.
Can't lie, when you play against the team, you know whether they defend or not. Bobby knew that was not Sacramento's MO prior to last year.
10-point Dallas lead, just under 3.5 to play in the third.
Here's Scott Pollard, almost a pick and roll.
Van Exel somehow gets it back. Finley. Tough shot from Finley. And Wong tips it in.
Sacramento feels Pollard doesn't defend the pick and roll very well. He doesn't get back to his man. Wang Juju with the tip in.
He likes to hang out on the perimeter that time, getting inside. And a whistle away from the ball. It's going to go against Van Exel. That'll be the third foul on Van Exel, and the Mavericks in the penalty.
Well, there's the penetration. That usually causes a problem. Michael Finley gets the shot up there. Scott Pollard was forced to get over there and help a little bit. When you go to help, there's nobody to box your man unless somebody else rotates back. Wang Juju, easy 2 points.
Doug Christie now with 9 points in the game. His fourth quarter, that was his key in game 3. He had 14 points in the fourth quarter, creating problems for Don Nelson and the Mavericks. 10-point game, just under 3 to play in the third.
Coaches always say just get it inside 10 going into that fourth quarter. Sacramento needs to hang around while Weber and Divac are on the bench.
Van Exel blocked from behind by Turkoglu. Good help defense and a bad pass. Turkoglu turns it over. 14th turnover for Sacramento.
They've been lucky. They're turning it over twice as much almost as Dallas, but they haven't been scored on as much as they should have off all those turnovers.
Dallas set an NBA record this season, fewest turnovers by a team in a season. Nash, however, turns it over that time right on cue.
You know, you talk about Chris Webber's free throw shooting, he misses. You talk about Dallas's turnovers, Steve Nash turns it over.
Nash has 6 of the Mavericks' 7 turnovers. Buckner back in. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in this third. Bibby. And they're going to call a travel. There was lots of contact there. Rick Adelman's upset again.
Mike Bibby split the trap. It started out as a pick and roll, and then Bibby split the trap. Somebody tripped him. It could have been his own teammate.
But if the defender's feet are solid or stationary and a player splits 2 defenders and trips on him, it's not a foul.
That is correct, Mr. Breen.
Nash, tipped by Christie.
What were you saying about turnovers?
Turkoglu, oh, nice crossover move from Hedo Turkoglu.
That's a big-time move right there by Hedo Turkoglu. He comes up with the steal and then coast to coast with a great change of direction.
And that's his first points of the game. Nowitzki. He has come alive with 15 points in this third quarter. Bibby gets inside, lost it, and gets it back. Inside to Pollard. It's like a pinball down there and a foul. Pollard very effective. His size creating some problems, and Finley's picked up his 4th.
Talk about size. Hedo Turkoglu is much bigger than people realize. Wang Zhu, that is a mismatch. How about a front crossover? Hedo Turkoglu is a good 6'9". He's very mobile.
Pollard, who's had a lot of different hairstyles over the past couple of years. I like his line when he said, you know, before he was an NBA player and struck it rich, they used to call him crazy. Now they call him eccentric.
Now, I like you talking to Rafe LaFrance, asking him what he was like. How strange was he when they were college teammates for 3 years?
And a timeout's going to be called. I think they call a lane violation. A lane violation on that one. So the free throw can't count. It was on his teammate, Turkoglu. Pollard not happy about it. 10-point Dallas lead. We'll return after these messages from your local stations. Dallas by 10, late here in the third. Dirk Nowitzki with a huge third quarter, 15 of his 22 in this period.
I love to see guys bounce back. Dirk Nowitzki's too good a player. Yes, he was struggling, and I think it bothered him more than it should have. Nothing makes him feel better than a couple of jump shots going down, but he didn't let it affect his game. 9 boards and 6 assists. That's a good day's work for most players.
The 6 assists, all in the first half, but as much as you like his unselfish play, you don't want Dirk Nowitzki piling up assists. You want him piling out the points.
Absolutely.
Nash, meanwhile, also very strong in this third quarter. It was a 3-point game at halftime. Christie just takes it away from Finley.
Turnovers hurting Dallas right now.
Jackson inside. Pollard on the follow. Scott Pollard, again, having a big impact in his limited minutes.
He's played very well. He played well all year. You had to think, put him out on the floor and see whether he's going to help or hurt. He's obviously helped them a lot.
Nowitzki rushed that one. Pollard with another rebound. Pollard's only played 10 minutes, but he's got 7 points and 5 boards.
2 big possessions right here, 1 for each team.
Christie inside. And just like that, it's back to a 5-point game. They've sliced 9 points off the lead.
Dallas,
short amount of time.
Dallas wants this basket going into the third quarter break.
Shot clock and game clock just about even. Buckner. Nice floater from Greg Buckner.
Michael Bibby's got to do a better job against a bigger man than that on the dribble.
Long three. And it goes over the backboard out of bounds. There's a 10th remaining on the clock. I don't think they're going to put any more time, so Mavericks can't get a shot off. Nash will just inbound. And that will end the third. A strong one for Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki. Both in double figures in the third period alone. They take a 3-point halftime lead and up at the 7th. Fourth quarter of Game 4 coming up. You're watching the NBA playoffs on NBC.
Back in Dallas, the Mavericks on top, 89-82. It's possessions like this that drives coaches crazy. Sacramento climbs back in the game. You would think maybe Dallas is going to hold for the last shot. The clock's running down. Greg Buckner just puts it on the floor and goes right in. Sacramento has shut down Dallas, and now they allow a layup going into the break at the quarter. Everything was going Sac's way.
They had cut a 14-point lead to 5, as you see. The Mavericks, very tough to beat when they had the lead, although what happened on Thursday, the game was tied. I mean, they weren't leading, but it was pretty close, and then they lost that game here at home.
Well, this is going to look like the Kentucky Derby. It's 52-2. When these guys get out front, you're not going to catch them in the fourth quarter.
89-82 after 3 quarters. That's usually like a triple overtime playoff game between the Knicks and the Heat.
I'm not going there. I like the Eastern Conference.
I'm not taking a shot at us. Turkoglu lost it. Pollard flips it out. Weber back in the game and comes up short. He's been sitting a while, probably still a little cold coming up. Nowitzki. Finley. Michael Finley with 21. 3 Mavericks have over 20. Nash 22, Nowitzki 22, and now Finley.
We talked about a start at the beginning of the game for Dallas. They got the start they needed here in the fourth quarter. Open it up. Turkoglu thought he was fouled.
Buckner knocked it away, and Finley right at Pollard.
You can't stay in the backcourt and yell at an official. You turn it over whether you got fouled or not. Get back on defense.
It's been a problem for the Kings. They've not been happy with the officiating, and they've let it affect their play. Shot clock down to 7. Weber against Sean Bradley is hammered. And Weber will shoot 2. Bradley picking up his second.
Greg Buckner pushes the ball up the floor. Michael Finley, no resistance till he gets to the rim. Scott Pollard stepped too late, but it's hard in transition unless you have everybody else back.
Buckner, of course, starting it down the other end with a steal. One of those solid role players for Don Nelson. Weber misses the free throw from the line. Chris Weber. Now 5 of 8. He's got 25 points, 9 rebounds. But he picked up those 4 fouls and sat out a good portion of the third quarter.
Can't play without Chris Weber when you have Peja Stojakovic not even in uniform. I think it's safe to say the Sacramento and Dallas fans are more into the games than the other 3 series.
Both buildings are as loud as it gets. Buckner. Right at Weber. Weber again, sees him complaining to Jim Clark about pushing off. They just have to play.
They've got to play. It doesn't matter at this point whether they're right or wrong. They got to deal with the scoreboard. There's still 10 minutes left.
Inside, nice move from Bobby Jackson. And Jackson doing the same thing. He's yelling, saying he should have got a call on that as well.
Well, the 3 super subs are on the floor. Jackson, Turkoglu, and Pollard, along with Chris Weber and Doug Christie for the Kings.
Just over 2 minutes gone by here in the fourth. Van Exel. Buckner. Nowitzki falling away. And Weber the rebound and a reach-in foul and a bad foul from Sean Bradley, who picks up his third, second team foul on the Mavericks.
Well, Greg Buckner made a smart play. We saw him taking in Mike Bibby at the end of the third quarter. This time he goes into the lane. He goes right at Chris Weber. Whether Chris Weber had a gripe or not, it's a smart play by Buckner. There's always the chance. See, Weber's going to pick up number 5 on that play.
Buckner, a second-round pick, has had some good games. Played very well in Game 2 in Sacramento. Weber spinning. Offensive foul. Weber picks up number 5. you can see the frustration on his face.
I want to see where his feet were. His left heel's inside the line. That's a bad call. That left heel was right on the semicircle. You saw Doug Christie complaining to the outside official. It's not the official that makes the call who's supposed to see that. His partners are supposed to help him out.
He was clearly on the restricted area. That's put there to help the officials on those calls. And 3-second violation, I believe, call. Offensive 3-second. I don't see a lot of that. We certainly have had our share of defensive 3 seconds, although not today.
Defensive 3 seconds is not in either of these teams' vocabulary.
10-point Dallas lead. The Kings, again, one of the reasons they can't get crazy here is because they're still very much in this game. Jackson rushed it. LaFrance lost it out of bounds. Buckner, though, tangled with him. And the two players going for the rebound, so it's Sacramento ball, and we'll have timeout. Still a long way to go. Chris Webber trying to talk with the officials again. A frustrating afternoon so far for the Kings. They're down 10. Of game 4, Dallas leading by 5. Chris Webber picked up his 5th foul a short time ago, and a reasonable beef on this one.
Well, you got to look from both angles. Right there, did he charge? He absolutely charged. But when you get a different angle, and don't forget, there's 3 officials on the floor. You look at this angle, we're going to stop it right there. That heel is inside the semicircle. That is not an offensive foul. That call could be critical. Chris Webber's already got a double-double, 26 points and 10 boards. Now he's got 5 fouls.
And you saw as the play was ending, Webber's left elbow was up there. Did not make contact.
No, he charged, but you can't charge if the man is inside or part of him is inside. Look out below.
That was a great entry pass from Doug Christie. Webber now with 28 to lead all scorers.
And a ton of time left, particularly for these two teams.
Webber had 31 last game. 8-point game. Finley inside. Devon's the rebound. Jackson off to the races. Nowitzki 1 man back. Oh, nice move from Jackson. And with all that's gone on, it's a 6-point game.
Would you say Bobby Jackson is attacking the rim the second half, Mike?
Jackson has come alive. 13 points. Check that, 15 for him. And a 6-0 run now from Sacramento. Buckner getting some important minutes. Van Exel. Buckner tries to keep it alive. Nowitzki lost it out of bounds. And Sacramento will get it back.
Well, Chris Webber was fortunate because that was real close to his 6th foul on that perimeter jump shot, Mike.
Of course, Webber's going to have to play the rest of the way with those 5 fouls. Very close.
Just touching hands. They were given a high 5.
But if you hit the hand while the ball is still in possession of the shooter's hand, it's not a foul.
I think they owe Chris Webber one. They may realize that.
Turkoglu. Finley right on top of him. Turkoglu. Bobby Jackson again. 17 for Jackson. 8 straight points.
Bobby Jackson averages 1 offensive rebound a game. For a point guard, that's very good, particularly off the bench in limited minutes.
And just like that, Sacramento very much alive. Nowitzki, hard drive. And a loose ball foul is going to go, I believe, against Turkoglu, yes. And Turkoglu picks up his 4th.
Bobby Jackson has been relentless, attacking the rim, or in this case, attacking the boards. He doesn't even come down. You don't expect a point guard to attack the boards as Bobby Jackson does, but he's done it all throughout his college and pro career.
Jackson, 15 of his 17 in the second half. Oh, Dirk Nowitzki answers back.
That's called recognition. I got a man on me with 5 fouls. He's not going to foul. I'm taking it to the rack.
6-point Dallas lead. Nowitzki with 24. Webber. Webber again with 5 fouls. Jackson. Over Nowitzki. Oh, Bobby Jackson. What a second half turnaround for Jackson.
So much for the slump Bobby Jackson was in.
And a foul will go against Devon. That's his 5th.
Dirk Nowitzki, I like this recognition. Dirk shows the fake. Chris Webber doesn't buy it, but then Chris just gets out of his way. Excuse me, I'll just take this right to the basket. Chris Webber just stands sideways, and Vlade Divac gets there too late. Bobby Jackson gets the pass inside from Webber. Now he pulls back. Fadeaway jump shot. He looks over at us. How am I doing?
The defensive specialist putting on an offensive display. He's got 8 points in the fourth quarter, and we're not even midway through the period. Turkoglu, nice play, knocking it away from Nowitzki.
Nowitzki thought he could shoot over Turkoglu. Hedo reached right around and poked it loose.
Bibby. Jackson for 3. Bobby Jackson lighting it up here in the fourth. And just like that, it's a one-point game.
I got to think if there's one guy I wasn't going to leave open right now, might be number 24 in the black jersey.
He has 11 points in the first 6 minutes of the period. Then Nash with a bad pass stolen by Bibby. Webber. Kings regain the lead. A 15-2 run. And they've overcome a 14-point deficit, their first lead of the second half.
Bobby Jackson is on fire. Nick Van Exel sagged to help. Bobby Jackson's helping out, make up for the lack of Peja Stojakovic. Chris Webber walks right into a jump shot, and the Kings retake the lead.
The Kings have lost their poise, but now they've regained the lead. The Sacramento Kings used to be a struggling road team. That's in the past tense. They've become a very strong road team.
Well, they even started out the year struggling a little bit, but they have been on fire on the road. They've yet to lose in the playoffs this year. 2 wins in Utah and 1 on Thursday night.
And after trailing by 14 here in the second half, they've regained the lead. Nash way short. Christie knocks it out of bounds.
Look at the way they started the year, Mike. 12 and 11, but since then, 16 and 5, 12 of the last 13, and then their first 3 in the playoffs. Franchise record for road wins for the Sacramento Kings.
And they're shooting well on the road. Fourth quarter, they shot 61% in Game 3. They've hit 7 of 10 here in the fourth quarter of Game 4.
And regardless of what happens, what impresses me, started with Rick Adelman yesterday, as Steve Nash continues to struggle turning over the ball. Rick Adelman said, we don't need to talk about Peja Stojakovic. Obviously, we miss him. We're just going forward. No excuses.
That's Steve Nash's 9th turnover. 5 minutes remaining. Bobby Jackson puts it in. Bobby Jackson with 13 points here in this fourth quarter, and we've only played just over 7 minutes. A 17-2 run. And the crowd a bit stunned right now. Nowitzki draws the foul, and Webber's out. Chris Webber is fouled out of the game.
Now Chris Webber's calling his teammates together, and he's going to talk about it. That's commendable, but he's got to be better disciplined defensively. He's so important to them staying on the floor.
And now no Stojakovic because he's out with the ankle injury, and no Webber. They're shorthanded up front.
Well, staying on the floor in 2 ways. Don't leave your feet for the fake. Easier said than done when you're guarding Dirk Nowitzki, and stay on the floor because we don't need another coach. Dallas has all the assistant coaches. Sacramento's got enough. They need Webber on the floor.
Webber, 30 points and 10 rebounds, played superbly, but we'll watch the final 4:45. Nowitzki hits the free throw, 2-point Sacramento lead. Dallas Mavericks trying to make sure this series comes back here to the American Airlines Center. Game 5 will be Monday night at Arco Arena in Sacramento. But will the Kings go back with a 3-1 lead, or will the series be all tied up at 2? The 2 highest scoring teams in the NBA. And another terrific matchup as Jackson pouring it on here in the fourth. Jackson right at Nash. Gets his own rebound and draws the foul. Bobby Jackson is simply out hustling everybody on the floor right now.
Well, another offensive rebound, and again, this is just being more aggressive than the guy playing you. He goes by him, doesn't make the shot. Stevie Nash doesn't put a body on him. Yeah, the smallest guy on the floor for the Sacramento Kings comes up with another rebound. Mike, you said the two highest scoring teams. How about the two highest scoring Kings? Stojakovic and Weber not available. Doesn't bother their teammates.
Of course, they were fine without them during the regular season when Weber missed so many games. He missed 28 during the regular season. Stojakovic missed 11, yet the team still had the best record in the league.
9-2 when Peja Stojakovic was not available.
Jackson knocks down some free throws. What a performance from Bobby Jackson. It's the largest lead of the game for Sacramento. Nash almost turns it over again. LaFrentz, that's a huge shot. What could have been a turnover turns into 2 points for Dallas.
Bobby Jackson's furious. He wanted a call. That was well defended. Rafe LaFrentz with a huge basket.
1 point game. Just under 4 to play. Bibby for 3. Knocks it down. Mike Bibby. And the Kings have their largest lead.
Michael Bibby was quiet for a long time, but he stepped up.
Nash double team. Nowitzki's open. Now he's doubled. LaFrentz had it, lost it, gets it back again. Van Exel gets inside. Nash back to Nowitzki. Nowitzki for 3. And a loose ball foul is going to go against Doug Christie. And for Sacramento, they're not on the penalty yet. That's their 4th team foul, 2 on Christie.
Mike Bibby, we talked about what a great game he had Thursday and what a great series he's had. Not heard from in a little while this afternoon. They'll remember that 3.
4-point Kings lead. You can feel the anxiousness of the crowd. Nowitzki fires away. Won't go. Divot's the rebound. And here comes Bobby Jackson. Talk about a brilliant 4th quarter performance. And Sacramento will call timeout and gather themselves. Kings trying to go 4-0 on the road in the postseason. Anxious moments for the Dallas Mavericks. They trail by 4, just under 3 to play. Still plenty of time. But they've seen a 14-point second-half lead disappear.
See if they go inside to Vlade Divac.
Divac and LaFrentz. Divac playing with 5 fouls. And a 24-second violation.
See if they go inside to Vlade Divac and pay attention to the 24-second clock.
2.5 remaining. Mavs down by 4, trying to tie the series at 2 apiece.
That's a horrible turnover, Mike.
See the turnovers for Dallas. 6 of those 15 have come in this 4th quarter. Nash, tough shot from Nash. Cuts the lead to 2. 24 for Nash. Adrian Griffin out there for defensive purposes to try and slow down Bobby Jackson, who gets inside, blocked by LaFrentz. Here comes Nash.
Great pass by Divac. Better play by LaFrentz.
Finley for 3. And Nowitzki the rebound. He ties the game. Dallas bounces back, just under 2 minutes remaining.
13 offensive rebounds for the Dallas Mavericks.
Bibby inside. That last block by LaFrentz was his 4th of the game. Griffin pokes it away. Jackson, that's a 2. Oh, they lost the rebound. Turkoglu banks it in. Nash and Nowitzki had a beat on it. But the ball tipped away and Turkoglu took advantage.
Hito's new hairdo got messed up, but he'll trade that for the offensive board.
Sacramento back up by 2. Nash against Jackson. Nash likes that fall away, gets it to Finley for 3. Bang! Michael Finley gives the Mavs the lead.
9 3-point field goals for the Mavericks.
Coming up on a minute remaining. A wild seesaw finish. Divot's inside, lost it. Another costly turnover.
never had control of it.
Nowitzki double.
Good switch.
Dallas doesn't like to slow it down. Nowitzki, tough shot, draws the foul. Won't go, but he'll shoot two with 39.5 remaining in a 1-point Dallas lead.
Well, since the timeout, we've had players on both ends stepping up. Steve Nash, spin dribble, and a fadeaway jump shot. That's why Bobby Jackson said he's so hard to guard. Michael Finley up on top. The Dallas Mavericks were kept down for 3 games from the three-point line. They're 9 for 21 today.
And now the best free throw shooting team in the NBA with critical free throws. They've only missed 1 this afternoon. They're 22 of 23 after Nowitzki makes that first. 29 points and 12 rebounds for Dirk Nowitzki. Badly short on that second one. And a timeout is called. Divac and Adrian Griffin. Why are they even guys getting and talking to each other? They should walk away as they go to the benches. A roller coaster ride here in Dallas. 38.8 remaining fourth quarter. Mavericks by 2. Kings with the ball when we return. 2-point lead for the Dallas Mavericks with 38.8 seconds remaining here in game 4. Sacramento with just 1:22 timeout. They have the ball. Dallas with plenty of timeouts. Plus, they have a foul to give.
Well, that's going to be important now because Sacramento's looking at a potential 2-for-1 situation right now. If they get a shot up in the next 5 or 6 seconds, they'll ensure getting another opportunity, and they wouldn't have to foul the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas is smart. They'll let them play a little bit and then use the foul as it gets down under 30 seconds.
This is the largest home crowd in franchise history. Over 20,000 strong, and they've been vocal from the introductions. They've watched their team blow a 14-point lead here in the second half. Sacramento was trailing badly. They had lost their poise, arguing with officials, but the Kings stormed back and took a 4-point lead. Mavericks, though, they bounced right back and lead by 2. Christie will inbound with Jackson, Divac, Turkoglu, and Bibby. Weber has fouled out of the game. Finley is on Bibby. Nash is guarding Christie. Bibby gets inside, and he ties the game.
And he did it perfectly. We've got a 7.5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
No help defense whatsoever. Finley with Christie on him. They want to get it in Nash's hands. Excellent ball denial from Jackson. Shot clock at 5. Finley lost it. Hoists it up. Air ball. Turkoglu the rebound. And the Kings call timeout with 7.5 remaining. It's a 20 because that's all they have remaining. So they're out of timeout, but they have plenty of time to get off a quality shot. And again, with the new rule from this year, on a 20-second timeout, you can advance the ball to the front court.
Great execution on both ends by the Sacramento Kings. Mike Bibby knows they need a quick basket. He attacks Dirk Nowitzki. No help defense whatsoever. And then exceptional defense on the opposite end. Bobby Jackson did not allow the ball to Steve Nash. Michael Finley had nothing, no options open to him but to launch a desperation shot. Hedo Turkoglu with the huge rebound.
You mentioned Jackson. They wanted desperately to get the ball in Nash's hands. Ball denial can be a lost art in basketball these days. But Jackson, an excellent defensive player, wouldn't let Nash get his hands on it.
They wanted Steve Nash on the right side of the floor. Bobby Jackson wouldn't let it happen.
Kings out of timeouts. Remember, Dallas still has a foul to give. 7.5 seconds remaining. Fourth quarter of game 4. It's all tied up.
You want to put it in a ball handler's hands. That's Mike Bibby.
Bibby with Finley on him. Puts it up. Won't go. Out of bounds with 0.4 seconds remaining. Dallas will now call time, and they'll advance the ball to the front court. Let's see if they put any time back on the clock. That's critical right now. We've seen a lot of last-second shots in the playoffs.
If they don't put any on at 0.4, there's nothing you can do other than tip the ball in an alley-oop play.
Let's look at his final shot from Bibby and watch the clock.
Michael Bibby's got to get a better shot than that. Watch the clock. It's when it goes out of bounds.
So it's now 0.6 by the time the whistle blows, so it's right around 0.4.
Yeah, of course. There's lag time. You're not going to get it perfect. It's all set to the officials. When the official blows the whistle, that timing device on their hips, that stops the clock. 0.4 means the only way they can score is a redirected play, an alley-oop play. Catch it. They're not going to let him catch it and shoot. And ironically, Bernie Fryer in the backcourt. It was Bernie that was in Charlotte for the famous Baron Davis turn and catch it, shoot play.
That was game 3 of the Orlando-Charlotte series. And Fryer waved it off. There was 0.7 of a second remaining in that one. Of course, they had the Stackhouse last-second shot last night that clearly came after. Reggie Miller also had a three-pointer in the Indiana-New Jersey series.
Oh, we should give Dallas some credit. Michael Finley did a good job on Mike Bibby. I really thought Mike Bibby would attack him on the dribbler. You want somebody who could create a shot, kind of settle. It wasn't a bad look, but obviously it was well defended. He didn't even draw iron.
So the Mavericks will inbound by the 28-foot line in their front court. Van Exel, Nash, LaFrance, Nowitzki, and Finley come out. Tie game. 0.4 of a second remaining. Van Exel lobs it to the basket, tipped away, and overtime here in game 4. 48 fast-paced, very physical minutes. Put 5 more up on the scoreboard. This wild show, Wild West show in Dallas continues. Overtime here in game 4. And in the postseason thus far, had 3 overtime games in the Eastern Conference playoffs. 2 of them with the Orlando-Charlotte series, and then that New Jersey-Indiana Classic deciding Game 5. And now the first one here in the West. And remember, Sacramento, despite the great comeback, they're playing without Chris Webber, who's fouled out, and Stojakovic, who's not playing with the injured ankle.
And they haven't used Scott Pollard that much. He's got 13 minutes. Hito Turkoglu, 29 off the bench. Wallace and Funderburk barely on the floor. So the war of attrition for Sacramento. But it's worth it if they come up with a third win.
Here's Michael Finley, who for the second straight game played 47 of 48 minutes, and obviously will be more here today. Turkoglu, tough pull-up shot. Doesn't get the roll, and Sean Bradley getting the start here in the overtime.
That might have been just for the jump ball, because Rafe LaFrance is already kneeling at the table to report in.
Nowitzki, hard to the basket, comes up short. Bradley keeps it alive, but Turkoglu comes away. Nowitzki looking at Greg Willard as he runs up the floor, wanted a foul call there. Mike Bibby on a pull-up, puts it in.
The first basket in overtime is so important. Not that it changes the course of the game, but for both teams. You need to get that first one in to relax a little bit. Dallas still looking for theirs.
Bibby with 22. Jackson goes for the steal. Nash gets it into Nowitzki and a foul call. And it's on Vlade Divac, and that's his 6th.
Rick Adelman is really upset, and I think he's got it right. Vlade Divac appeared to have both feet on the ground and his hands straight up in the air. That's an awful tough 6 foul. Stevie Nash goes to the basket. Nowitzki, that's a bad call. Vlade Divac is straight up and down. He didn't change his defensive plane. Can't take him out of the game. This is a veteran officiating crew. They know he's got 5 fouls.
He did kind of step up toward the play. There was, again, his hands went straight up, but as you step up to the play, there's a little momentum that carries you in.
I don't like that for his 6th foul. Good officials, and this is a very good crew. They know he's got 5 fouls. Your 6th has got to be legit. That's too ticky-tack.
Nowitzki knocks down the first.
Dirk initiated a little bit of that contact. Early in the game, maybe that's not a bad call. Not with less than 4 minutes in overtime.
Game tied with just under 4 minutes to go in overtime. Sacramento playing shorthanded. Webber and Divac are both fouled out. And Stojakovic not playing with an ankle injury. Christie for 3. LaFrance hauls in the rebound. Here comes Nash. Kings get back on D. Finley on the pull-up. Knocks it down.
Michael Finley, good decision. He didn't settle for the three. Little quick dribble and got a better look.
Dallas back up by 2. Turkoglu gets inside. Pretty pass to Pollard. Pollard draws the foul. Disappointed the shot didn't go down, but he'll shoot 2 more free throws.
Well, he should be disappointed. That was a good pass by Turkoglu. But Michael Finley, see, puts it on the floor, 1 dribble left, pulls up and takes that shot. The other reason, good pass by Turkoglu. Scott Pollard. See, Rafe got his hand caught in the net. That's an important miss because Pollard's less than a 70% free throw shooter.
Got it 69% during the regular season. That one rattles around and goes in. The Kings within 1. Again in the overtime, not only 5 minutes. The penalty is on the 14th foul, or second in the last 2 minutes, and you also get 3 additional timeouts. Pollard hits it. You actually get 3, not additional.
Right.
So 2 clutch free throws from Scott Pollard.
Keep you 20, I believe, Mike. I should know the rule as a former coach. You have it.
Van Exel against Bibby. Flips it up. Ball kept alive by LaFrance, but Bibby comes out of the pack.
No numbers for Sacramento.
Bibby gets inside. Tough shot. Pollard's tip won't go. Fight for the rebound. Still alive. LaFrance had it. Jackson comes away. Jackson double team. Bibby for 3. Finley with a tough rebound in traffic and falls. Somehow gets it out. Here's Nash. And a foul on the pass. That'll be the second team foul. So they'll take it out of bounds. First foul on Pollard. That's not a bad foul because Nowitzki was wide open on the elbow.
It was an excellent foul. I don't know. Michael Bibby had a great look. Not a lot of scorers on the floor for the Kings. I guess you got to live with that shot.
Nash inside, trying to get it to LaFrance. Somehow it finds its way to Van Exel. Finley for 3. Christie with the rebound. The crowd has been on its feet pretty much the entire overtime.
You've got some tired players out there for both teams, especially, you would think, Sacramento.
Turkoglu for 3. That's not a good shot. Christie the offensive rebound. Bibby gets inside. Too strong. And a whistle and a foul. It's going to go against Dallas.
Jimmy Clark, I think, got Dirk Nowitzki pushing off for the rebound.
That's his 4th foul, PJ. And for Dallas, their 2nd team foul. But first in the last 2 minutes, so the next one, and they'll be in the penalty.
You'll see the shot go up. Sacramento's already got a couple of offensive rebounds. Scott Pollard thought he had another one, and he was pushed from behind. Good call.
The presence of Pollard helps out Sacramento. Bobby Jackson falling away. Oh! Pollard with the offensive rebound. Second opportunities for Sacramento.
They're not cashing it, but they're doing a great job on the board.
Christie, in and out. Nash the rebound. Minute and a half remaining in overtime, and we're still tied.
Rick Adelman's not happy with that shot. They're taking too many threes. They don't need to.
And a foul, reaching foul, will go against Turkoglu. And now the next one, and they'll be in the penalty.
Well, it's been offensive rebounds and 3-point shots for the Kings.
5 fouls on Turkoglu. Weber's fouled out. Divac is fouled out. 1:20 to go in OT. They try to get it to Nowitzki, and he lost it out of bounds. Doug Christie's defense forcing that turnover.
Great anticipation. Michael Finley looked at him all the way. Doug knew the ball was going to Nowitzki. He just tracked the pass down. As soon as it left Finley's hand, he went right after Nowitzki. I'd like to see Sacramento go inside or attack on the dribble.
They don't have Weber to go inside too right now. He's fouled out. Christie. Turkoglu. Turkoglu driving. Tough shot. Won't go. Finley snatches that rebound.
Snatch is the operative word.
Adrian Griffin in for defensive purposes. Final minute. of the overtime. Finley.
Isolated against Turkoglu.
Shot clock winding down. It's a 2. Finley won't go. Griffin the rebound, but he lost it. And Christie comes away with the ball. There's about a 6.5-second difference between the shot and game clock.
Rick Adelman looks like he's going to let them play. Trying to take as much time off in a pick and roll. Bibby and Pollard.
Bibby inside, puts it in. Mike Bibby goes inside. And Sacramento with a 2-point lead with 12.2 remaining. They had missed 10 of their first 11 from the field in the overtime, but Bibby goes strong.
Well, if Sacramento can come up with one more stop, Michael Bibby takes it right to the rim. He's going to enjoy his 24th birthday. What a great play by the Sacramento point guard.
24 points for Bibby. Kings by 2. Mavs have the ball with 12.2 remaining. Van Exel, Nash, LaFrance, Nowitzki, and Finley. All 5 with three-point ability, but they're only down 2. Bibby on Van Exel. Nowitzki makes his move inside. Won't go. Rebound Nowitzki. Tip won't go. Finley. No go. It won't count. And the Sacramento Kings take 2 games in Dallas and take a commanding 3-1 lead. And we'll head back to that madhouse called Arco Arena in a comfortable position.
Well, Michael Bibby has stepped up so big in this series. Can't tell you how impressed I am, Sacramento. No Stojakovic. Weber fouls out. Divac fouls out. Doesn't bother them in the least. A lot of players step in, and they get it done on the road.
But this series, far from over. Dallas has won 3 times in Sacramento, 2 in the regular season, and obviously in Game 2.
Both these teams have played 4 times in the other building. They're 3-1 on the road. That's impossible for these 2 teams.
Finley's shot would not have counted. Nowitzki had a great look. Pollard contests the shot, and then watch Nowitzki come in again. And just got his hand on it, but obviously couldn't get it off the glass. Bobby Jackson tips it away. And again, Finley's shot was waved off, would not have counted, even if it went in.